Hey guys, welcome to Imperialism with countries. So first we're going to have Russia, which is already invading Ukraine, and they're going to go ahead and take over that. Then they're going to move into Europe and start to take over stuff like that country, and Finland, as you know, and then they're going to take over countries immediately like Kazakhstan and Mongolia. So they're pretty good right now, right? They've taken over a lot of countries, and they're probably going to continue to do that, honestly. So what now is going to happen is they're going to start to invade Alaska, which is that. From that, basically this is basically just a copy of the Alaska from the thing. So anyways, they're invading here, and the U.S. is putting up a good fight, though, and the U.S. will definitely not let them take Alaska, and that is why the U.S. is so powerful, because what they're going to do is take over this land, and they have all of this. Eventually, the U.S. loses. So now we're going to have the U.S. empire, which is going to go ahead and start to take over all these countries, all of Canada. They're going to start to invade Canada, but Canada is putting up a good fight from the people from Britain. So basically, now what we're going to have is we're going to have Canada start to invade back some of their stuff. Canada's putting up a good fight, and they need more. So basically, what's going to happen here is Canada, Mexico is going to start to invade some of Central America countries such as Guatemala, Belize, Puerto Rico, basically all of this. Wait, no, I'm going to delete that, yeah. So anyways, what we have next is all these Central America countries, and South American countries, such as Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil. All of this basically is now going to be owned by Mexico, Paraguay, Peru, all of these. Because Mexico is actually a pretty strong country. And Mexico does not want to mess with the U.S. because they know they fought them before and lost. Texas and New Mexico. They do not want to do that again. So, anyways, what's going to happen is over here, we're going to have the U.K. start to invade countries because the U.K. needs some countries admitted. So they start invading Norway and Sweden. They start to take over Finland, and then they move over here. They take over all these countries, such as Germany, France, Poland, yes. And then Australia Empire is going to go ahead, move over here, take over New Zealand. Then they're going to move up here, take over Papua New Guinea, China, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Indonesia, all these countries basically, they are taking over. However, if we go over here and we move to Madagascar, they are going to start to take over all these countries, such as South America, Mozambique, Angola. They're going to take over all these. They want land, and they need land in this imperialism war, World War III. Basically, now what we're going to have is we're just going to have Angola start invading to fight back because they are right by 3 empires that are super big. 4, sorry. So they take over almost all the Horn of Africa, and they put up a crazy fight that Madagascar cannot win against, sadly. And now they have the whole bottom half, South Africa. Not the country, the whole South Africa. However, Kenya starts to invade all of these. Every single country you see in North Africa, they're taken. It's blue versus red in real body. So anyway, they take over Saudi Arabia, Nepal, Oman, Qatar, Mauritania, they take over all these. So anyways, now it's a fight. However, Algeria is pretty powerful, and they take over all of North Africa. It was a fight, but sadly, South Africa wins against North Africa, and they take over all of this. So anyways, what we have here is we can see them moving in, and then they start to take over, and they have all of Africa now. So then what we have is we're going to start to see here that they are moving into Asia, because they're going to need this. So they start to take over a little bit of the Saudi Arabia back, but they can't right now. Anyways, they take over Greenland, they take over Iceland, they take over some of the UK's territories, but the UK fights back and starts to have a little bit of their own, and they eventually take over all of this land, because the UK takes over all of this. They start to invade a little bit of Asia, and then they start to move their way, and then they start to try to attack them, but they don't really want to do that right now. So anyways, they take over Iceland back. Then what they're going to do is start to help Canada and take over Canada. So they're going to eventually take over many of this Canada land, and Greenland, take that rightfully back. So look at all this fight. Pretty big. So then we have over here, we have India. India needs to fight. They haven't fought yet. So what they do is they start to invade Asia. They start to really invade Asia. And the Indian Empire is slowly growing. Slowly but surely. They invade Thailand, Vietnam, and all of these countries you can see right here. So they have like the bottom west half, and they start to even invite North Africa. North Africa starts to get invaded, and sadly, the Algerian Empire is coming to a stop. So what happens here is we can see the Mexican Empire starts to take all of South Asia, Africa, and America. And then they start to take over South Africa and West Africa, and start to invade Africa very much. It is a horrible fight. They are scared, but however, we go over here, and little Cuba wants to make a little comeback, but sadly they can't. Cuba too small. But Australia, or Oceania, starts to take over some more countries, but it's crazy. So anyways, Australia takes over Kazakhstan, and even takes over Russia. Crazy. All of Russia. Every bit owned by Russia. Nope, that's now Oceania or Australia. So what we have here is we can see these here start to invade the Indian Empire. And sadly, the Indian Empire is not that big and cannot put up against this fight. So the US starts to try to take over countries like New Mexico, Greenland. They start to invade Canada for good, and they are doing good. They are doing real good. And they eventually take over all of Canada and Greenland. So they have basically the northwest half of the world taken. And they eventually start to move in even more into South America. But they want to give Mexico a little bit of land. But do they? I think we should keep them this. Anyways, what happens is they've been mad at each other for years. As you know, Texas was once owned by Mexico. So anyways, they start to even invade Africa, and eventually they do. So now, what the battle is, it's the battle for land between the yellow, green, purple, pink. But they take over that purple. UK has nothing against the US, but the US has all their land. They can't fight. Now the US has more than half of the world. land. So now it's that versus Australia, which is very small. Sadly, there is something that has to happen. Australia starts to invade, and they destroy the U.S. The U.S. empire does not have nearly as much population as they do. But then again, these countries put up a fight and start to take over. But then, sadly, Oceania takes over the rest of the world. There is only a bit left, but now it's taken. The U.S.'s original land is gone. There is no more. There's only Norway, Sweden, and Finland. That's the rest of it. That's the rest of the world. But now, it's world domination. This is a long, long war, and they go ahead and they finish. They take over the rest of Oceania and they win. Now it is officially the Australian Empire and they win. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video. Peace!